Have you ever wondered what makes bodies tick? Are you creating the sexual reality you desire and require? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? What if your fantasies are not as strange as you thought they were? What if you could learn to be kinder to your body and kinder to others' bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Have you lost your mojo and wondered where to find it? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here is the host of The Pleasure Zone, Body Whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Pleasure Zone. And tonight we're having a fun little conversation called A Little to the Left, Please. And my guest tonight is Keisha Clark. I almost called you Keisha. I was thinking Keisha Girls. and then your name turned from Keisha to Keisha. That's cool. So Keisha is, not only she's a friend of mine, she's also a producer of one of the producers of my radio show. And the other night we were just, I don't know where it came from, but it was like, hey, want to come on my show? She's like, okay, what are we talking about? Okay, let's do it. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
So we are going to be talking about stuff. Before we get into this show about A Little to the Left, because not everybody's got the little to the left, but somebody has it in other directions. It may be up your nose. I don't know. People have different things. It's okay. So one of the things that attracts me to talk about this topic every week for like over the last year, just talking about bodies and sex and pleasure, is that it's like one of the most fun things on the planet for me are bodies and pleasure and touch and sex. And how's it get any better than that? And I get to talk about it to you guys, and you guys listen to me. That blows my mind. Thanks for listening to me.
Right.
Woohoo! So, yeah, I work with bodies. That's what I do. I play with them, whatever that means to you. Take it however you like. I play with bodies, and I get paid for it. Is that legal where you live? Because it's not where I live. It is actually the funny part is like some things are legal in Canada and some things are not. There's like a gray area. Wow. So yes, though I do body work where I actually move your body, align your spine. If you get turned on, woohoo, because that happens sometimes. And I also do a lot of energy work, and I've had many people have the awesome reaction of having orgasmic responses in their body. So how fun is that, right? So sex, bodies, fun, play, touch, how's it get any better than that? And today I'm talking with Keisha, who also does accessness, and is totally brilliant and has a radio show on this station on Fridays. It's called Living Weal, correct?
Living Well, It's spelled
well, but I always say wheel because it's spelled.
I know. Well, that's actually like the traditional pronunciation, and me being the unconventional gal that I am, I actually pronounce it well.
Okay, I like it. I was like, that's like Celtic Gaelic or something, and I like it.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
So we're going to be talking about, living well. How much is like asking your body, and asking your partner's body what it would like, really like an aspect to living well.
Mm-hmm.
So how
I
fun
love that.
is it? Yeah. Living crap, you would be like, no, sorry, I'm just going to lie here. I know that you think that's my clitoris, but it's actually...
Not doing it for me. Right?
I think that was like something where I had like an ingrown hair.
Oh, no.
It's not the right spot. Thank you.
Are the eggs done?
That's right.
Oh gosh. Well, and actually, when on the name, the word "well," in part, one of the ways I apply it in the energy of my show is as an acronym, and one of the questions that it kind of works with is, are you willing to embody abundant living? And so we talk about all kinds of things pertaining to embodiment and abundance and truly living and the willingness to choose that. And so this is kind of a beautiful cross-pollination with our two shows and this topic. Cool. Yeah, so how much did our shows want to play together?
For a really long time, actually. Like, Keisha Keisha, you've been such a gift to my show. There's been so many times where,
Oh my God.
even before your show, you would be on in the chat room and like so present and like such a contribution, so that it was talking to air all the time. It was so friggin' awesome, and I'm so grateful for you. Actually, to be quite honest, you were one of the people. There was about a handful of people who actually were always like had my back on the show, and you guys are part of the reason why I still have it. So thank you.
Oh, I'm
for that.
honored. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I so appreciate your willingness to embody all of the energies of pleasure and all of the conversations that can happen within that grand and glorious umbrella, if you will. Your show that you were doing this past Monday, in fact, you had this ease of talking, and in addition to your fun story about the bear, which I thought was really amazing, I'm like, I want to be in a place where I see bears. But I just so appreciate, one, as you say, your willingness to be on a global venue and putting conversations into the world that are really all around and about subject matter that for many, many people, they will not speak about it. And you were a guest on my show once with Annie. I can never say her name. Mm-hmm. It's amazing, yeah. Annie. And we talked about pleasure play. And, it's amazing to me how quickly people really shut their bodies down and close their bodies off and shut off their whole energy. They just sort of like cut off their entire being when you start talking about pleasure, when anyone starts talking about pleasure. And so I'm so excited that you do this, and I'm so grateful that you do this. And I feel very much privileged to get to be on a station that carries this type of conversation and promotes the consciousness around sex and sexualness and being present with our bodies. So thank you for being one of those beautiful beings who is an invitation to more of what is possible. So keep going, honey.
God. I have like tears in my eye right now. Thank you.
Rock on, Sister Goddess.
so tonight I was like, the show actually kind of came to me, I think, literally when we were, I think it was when we were last week. I don't even know, but it was really close to that. So it was really, and it was like, oh, wow, I wonder how many times, and it's not just like with lovers, it's not just like asking them in the bedroom what you would like. Right. It's like so many places where we're just not willing to say.
Yeah.
It's like, if I ask him to please close the door when he goes poo, like, will he be all offended and up in my face? Like, but what if you just ask? Like, okay, cool, love you, sitting there on the toilet. Can you just close the door? Awesome, thanks.
Right.
I was just walking by thinking about coffee, wasn't thinking about that, but thank you. Even though I don't drink coffee. Like, actually, that whole scenario doesn't really happen to me anymore. but it used to, like, a lot. Like, and I lived with somebody who was like chronic, like nothing was like, it doesn't, I don't have a point of view about people pooping, but I don't have to see it all the time. Plus at the time I was like changing diapers all the time. I was like, I had enough of poop all the time. Like, God, I look at 12 diapers a day. I don't need to look at your butt. Like, I'm really good here. I'm really good.
My poop quota has been met. Thank you, darling.
That's right. If there is a poop quota, I have met that.
Right.
so it's like, and would you just be willing to go like, can you please just close the door? That would be so great. It would just make my life a little bit happier. And if it's not such an intrusion in your world, that'd be great. And so, all those places where we refuse to say is true to us, and our bodies, and what's a kindness to us and to our bodies. And there's, that probably never happened to you, right, Keisha? Like you've probably been in these relationships where they just would be totally up front and everybody's like there and present. I haven't met anybody yet that's had that. So.
No, it's kind of and it's funny. It's like you kind of. I think a lot of us, we sort of reach a point that we develop a certain type of ease, and that looks different for each of us. But it's because we're really not taught to have conversation. We're really not given the tools to have conversation and actually communicate or convey what's really going on for us. And it's kind of funny in these last couple of weeks, for me in particular, this type of thing has really been getting more clear for me, or I've been getting more clarity around this, I could say. So, yeah, and especially when it comes to those what we call intimate moments, whether that's just the intimate in a sense of being in kind of close quarters, or whether it's that intimacy of, your barriers are down, you might be emotionally, physically, spiritually naked, you might be physically naked, all of the above. It's who teaches us, who encourages us, and who fosters our self-esteem and our capabilities to be able to have these conversations. And I'm like, well, really, nobody,
Yeah. It's just kind of starting right now, right? We've just, kids are having parents who are more conscious now. It's really just starting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, in part with the advent of now we have our beautiful Pandora's box, as they say.
Yes.
You can Google anything, whether you're 3 or 305. And so there's been a little bit of we kind of have to talk about it. But then there's also this interesting dynamic that is occurring that, there's a little that pushback, well, no, this is only supposed to be talked about by these people. And, could we just please identify one of the polka dotted elephants in the room, and that one being, by and large, parents do not have conversation with their children about sex or body. They just don't,
No, they really don't.
And most of the time, I think it's the parents have not had conversation with anyone else about sex and their bodies. So it's like, what are they going to tell their kids, And so I don't fault parents for that. I'm not making anyone wrong for not having those conversations. And at the same time, I would like to invite more people to have the conversations. And the second part of that for me is, what if we could have the conversation from the energy and the space of the curiosity and the joy of what can be possible with our bodies, instead of the stories that we've adopted and adapted and created and invented these rules of all the reasons we should not be with the joy of our bodies. So when we're saying a little to the left, what if we could say that from the space of curiosity and joy and reverence and honor and gratitude, Wow. So how many bodies just took a breath?
Like, oh, phew.
It was nice.
I can actually ask for something and it won't be insulting.
Yeah, so what would it be like to ask for something you truly desired, and to ask for something that your body truly desired?
It's funny, right? Because kids really will do that.
Yes.
Like my daughter, the other night was
you were amazing
last night. Yeah, she's funny. She's like material, man. She's like so funny, and the things that she says and the insight she has. The other night she was saying, it's just that it's not that I'm not tired. It's that I can't sleep until you've rubbed my feet. That's what they need right now. I think I'm growing, and my feet are like, can you touch me? I'm like, okay, Ziva,
cool
I'll go massage your feet. I'm like, and she's like, okay, well, Mommy, that foot's good, but this foot, it's still like there's something there. Can you change it? I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
okay, let's go. I'm like, you just had like an hour session. She's like, yeah, okay, now I can sleep.
Wow.
I'm like, you're such a goof. You're so funny. But how many other kids be like bouncing off the wall, and they're like,
wow.
no, but I don't know what I need. Let me do this. I don't know.
Wow.
My body, I need a foot massage. I'm like, that's
So,
huge.
I wonder if people are getting in this 10 seconds what the magnitude of what you've just said. Like, for me, one of the things that popped was how brilliant, of course, your daughter is. And, of course, she chose you as one of her parents. And so we have to say, yes, there's some brilliance there. And the other thing, too, is all of the amazing gifts you have given your daughter and empowered her with to be able to ask you for that, and to be able to be present with her body, to be able to say to you, this one likes this, and this foot, it's different, and can you, that's amazing. How many how old is your daughter? She's 12?
7.5.
Oops. See?
I know. She
really is brilliant, yeah. So, oh my gosh, 7.5 years old, and she can actually ask you out loud. Like, she doesn't have to, like, cry or throw a fit or do something to get your attention. She's just asking you, you know. And what I get of the future possibilities that is creating already for her, for you, for everyone she meets, oh my gosh, Milica, shout out
These are
to
things
you,
I don't even
sister.
think about, but thank you.
Oh my gosh.
You know, it's like, this is how we live, right? So I don't really think about it as unique.
And isn't that, yeah, like, it's normal for you, and how awesome that it's normal for you. Mm-hmm. And wow, that is at the same time so amazingly different than what 99.9% of people experience. So
yeah,
what would it be like to have lots more of that on the planet?
Yeah, and I get that it's actually showing up more, right? Like, the conversations I have with her, I get why you would think she's a teenager, because the stories I tell about her sound like that.
Yes.
And then, you know, you see her art page and you think she must be 12. No,
that's 7. What I was just thinking about. Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh.
She was, we had this, every once in a while, we'll have this, you know, something's going on with my body or other, and she'll offer me sessions because she's really freaking cute like that. And she loves doing symphony sessions. So she'll do SOPs on me, and she calls them energy tickles.
I love
and that. She is diligent. Like, she will, until I'm laughing hysterically, she will be there present with my body, and it could be like 2 hours, and she'll just be there.
Wow. And
like doing her magic until finally, like, my body can laugh. And she will just, it's for her, it's like, you gotta laugh or I'm not done. So I'm like, damn, that's pretty amazing.
That is so freaking cool.
Yeah, and she watches, and she's like really diligent. It's very cool. So every once in a while I get these magic sessions with her.
That's amazing.
So I get to ask for that too, though, right? So we're very, like, cool like that. Even when she was a baby, and she just started to become verbal, she would say, rub a bum. Like, in order for her to feel at ease, this is where kind of, like, I've always had a thing for bums, but her bum, like, I would be rubbing it for like hours and hours, and I would move my hand off and she would wake up, and my hand I'd literally have to be there, hand on the bum, for like almost the whole night. If I even budge, she's awake. So she's very much about contact, and she's just like really, really funny that way. The thing is, she's not the only one on the planet that has that thing with contact. Like, when somebody touches you and you have that, like, your body melts, and there's just this, like, joy in your body, and it can have ease. Yeah. Like, do you ever really want to go take hands off me? No, right? You're just like, bring it. Oh, yeah, bring more. Oh, I'll just stay with you forever.
Yeah. I coined the phrase when I was in high school, I think it was, of pet me whore. And that was in regards to some of the animals I used to hang around. But I am a total pet me whore. I'm like,
I love it.
Put your hands on me. It's just awesome. And yes, you know, whether it's my arm or my knee or my ankle or, you know, other places of choice, it's like, there's something that bodies, there's like this engagement, and then there seems to be this, you know, like our capacities sort of like turn on, you know, and bodies do things with and for each other, even when we're not paying attention. And it's amazing what is possible for bodies to gift and contribute to each other. And so much of that is, I think, looked at as, you know, when we're little, it's sort of written off as just being a kid. And then it's something we're supposed to be growing out of. And yet, actually, as we grow into our adulthood, I find that bodies seem to desire even more of it and have even more, there is even more of a generative effect or generative contribution of touch for bodies. And so that's always been fascinating to me. But yeah, that was one of my phrases.
Yeah, so, to me it's totally interesting how as a baby you can be cuddled all the time, and then by the time you hit 20, you're lucky to have that hug a day or even a week.
Totally, yeah.
So
really, and of course, how many studies have been done about, gosh, I know, I have part of my life history this time around is in the healing arts and in hands-on bodywork. And there's a library of studies that have been done on what touch actually contributes to the body. And we could say scientifically they have talked about this. They've proven things. And, there's been research done with premature babies. There's been research done with drug-addicted babies. There's been research done with all kinds of ages of bodies and what touch provides, and then, touch with other complementary therapies. And in every case, let me just put it this way. I don't know of any cases or any of those studies that have come up with any type of results, for those who have any kind of significance on results of scientific studies, that show to the contrary, that show that bodies don't respond to touch, that bodies don't have a greater vitality or that moods don't improve, that confidence doesn't increase, And I mean, one of our simplest things is we talk about how when you talk to plants, they
flourish.
Change. Exactly. Yeah. When you talk to them and send energy to them of love and kindness, they flourish. And when you speak to them words of hatred, they tend to die. And so it's always been mind-boggling to me that we don't make that correlation between the living material in and of the plants and the living material of our body. And that's just always like, I'm like, how do you not get that, people? So that's one of my interesting
One day, that's one of my targets for the planet is so that people can actually acknowledge that not only do they affect everything around them, that their contribution to it, and that being you, which is being that kindness, caring, all of that changes everying. Yeah. And I actually had a client the other day, a young fellow, and he when I was talking to him about do you actually acknowledge that, like, if you are in the presence of plants and trees and animals, that they're happy that you're there, and that, how happy is your body to be there? And he's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, do you get that is like you contributing to the planet? And when you're not doing that, you're killing it. But I had to get really, really bold with him, like black and white, because the truth is, that is the truth. When you are willing to be you and contribute your energy to anything, whether it's a body, whether it's during copulation or whatever, and being that energy of you, and that's all of you. That's even like the little asshole parts of you, but you're being all of it simultaneously. Yes. That's a contribution to everything, right? So that's you not like stepping away from you or avoiding any part of you, and you are like completely present. What a gift. And it was an interesting thing for him to walk away, because he's like in his early 20s or something, and for him he was like, I was like, so I'd love to hear what you come up with about what you now know about you that you haven't known about you for so long, because you couldn't acknowledge where you were magic in everything in your life. So we do that. How many other people are like totally magic and not acknowledging it?
Yeah. Well, and that brings up for me living a turned-on life. Yeah. And we can talk about it in terms of sexual behavior, and turn-on goes so much further than that. Turn-on is so much more than that. And you look at how much of the material world, how much of our planet is alive and breathing. Plants, all the plants, not just our house plants, all the plants on the planet are alive and breathing, and they do amazing things. And so I love that you pointed this out for him and just sort of offered a possibility of new awareness around, when we're being present as our turned onness and aliveness, wow, what is that? It is like speaking words of kindness and gratitude and loving to all of the living material, to the consciousness of everything on the planet. And that could be as little as like our family in our particular house, or our whole neighborhood, or our whole country, or our whole continent, or everything within the solar system and beyond. Yeah. Wow.
Part of that turned on, right? Like in part of my ad, the intro of the ad, I asked people to stay at the end of it. It's actually in the outro. And I asked them to stay turned on and tuned in. And it's not about tuning into my radio show. It's about tuning into the planet, right? And as you are turned on, you are totally tuned in. So you can listen to my show, but I'm really asking you to be tuned into everything. All at the same time. Body. So how about if we go to a break, Keisha, and then when we come back, we'll actually talk about like copulation and all that kind of aspect of it, just for fun.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Cool. Woohoo.
We'll be right back.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
What does optimal cell health mean, and how can you create it? Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy by Swiss Bionics can improve your well-being in every area of your life. The PEMF mat stimulates cells to move and create space between cells for optimal cell function. How does it get better than that? Use 2 to 3 times per day for 8 minutes will improve circulation and immune function. Cell metabolism and repair begins, and mobility also will increase. Do you desire better health? If you're interested or would like a session, call 613-473-3805 or in Toronto. Call or text 416-253-1617. Monthly rentals start at only $300 per month. Is now the time to choose optimal cell health?
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone. As I'm somehow swallowing something as I try to get back on the air, and welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. Maybe I was choking on my own words for what I'd like to ask my lover. Who knows? And tonight we're actually talking about a little to the left, please, where you can start to actually ask your partner, your whoever you're with, whether it's your one-night stand or whether it's your long-term partner, lover, extraordinaire, all of those things, what it is you truly desire. So what is it that you would actually truly desire from your partner that you're not asking for Is it like one of those things where every time you go to copulate, you're kind of like, yeah, that was good, and it'd really blow my mind if you just kind of like try this for a minute? So would you be willing to even show them? Or, what else possible? Sometimes everybody's body's different, so would you be willing to like facilitate ease for your lover so that they can gift you pleasure? Because really, lovers love gifting pleasure, as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned. I love gifting pleasure. Like, if you can tell me what to do and what to say and how to be, and like, tell me what's going to turn you on. I'm there with you.
Totally. And if your lover is not loving gifting pleasure to you, that could be a flag.
That could be.
You might ask a question or two.
Just one or two. Or come to conclusion, I'm out of here.
Cool, right.
Or ask some questions. That does work.
Oh my gosh. How many of us aren't listening to the lack of desire from our lover? Ooh, wow.
That's a lot going on there.
Wow. So what if we didn't have to be settling for that? And how many of us aren't listening to our own bodies? It's like, and that's really what you're inviting us to really look at tonight and tune into tonight is, everywhere we're not willing to listen to our own body.
Yeah.
Could we make a different choice, or at least be willing to make a different choice? Even if it's just try it on for 5 minutes, Wow.
Whatever that is you're trying on for 5 minutes. Have fun.
Whatever that is, that's right. Bodies do actually have preferences. And
they do.
And wow, everywhere, what I'm kind of getting a sense of is, how wrong have we made pleasure?
Oh, super freaking wrong.
So
it's like hedonistic.
Wrong.
In every religion under the planet makes something that you should avoid, have austerities towards. If you're going to be a good, perfect human being and find God, sex is not part of that. Pleasure of your body is generally not part of that, unless you're maybe doing a certain type of Buddhist tantric practice.
Right.
Other than that, you're pretty much excluding sex, and maybe some of the Hindus with Shiva worshipping might include it on some level.
So everywhere we're ready to change that now.
I'm ready to change that. Like, what if we could
step up and change that? Yeah.
I'd like to stop being pilgrims, like, that would be great. If we could stop having...
Now, I'm willing to be a pilgrim of sensualness and sexualness and pleasure.
Okay, I like that word. So I get what you're saying, because the pilgrims are the ones who come into different areas.
Kind of pilgrim. Yeah, and pioneer, and
Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for, Keisha? It's actually the religion that went with the people who wore those costumes. You know what I'm talking about? There was anyway, whatever that was from the 1700s with the witch burning. That.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everywhere where if you had an orgasm, you were probably going to be burned at the stake for it. Wow, I wonder how many people had that. That's interesting.
All of the misidentification of pleasure as energies of demonic forces. Holy gosh.
Everywhere orgasms were illegal.
Could we please change that? Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Oh.
Whoa.
I totally have not even considered that there's still so much of that around. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. Amazing.
And so I'm willing to choose different.
Me too. What if orgasms were not actually like having demon removal from your body? What if they are fun? Oh my God, what a concept.
Well, and how much of that is really and truly that expression? And let's just ask our bodies, everybody who's listening, in this moment, whenever this moment is occurring for you, check in with your body here. What do you know, and what does your body know about the energy of being alive and being turned on and having vitality and orgasm? And everywhere that you have worked really hard to take the lie into your life and your body as real and true, that all of those energies are a wrongness or will lead you to a wrongness. Could we destroy and uncreate that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, yeah. Oh, my goodness. I had no idea we were going to
go there.
Go
You
there.
never know where we're going to go. And as we were talking about that, it's also like,
about this.
right? And I also wonder how many times it's like we've actually asked for certain things in so many lifetimes or even in this lifetime and been scolded for it.
Yeah.
Been told that we don't know what we're talking about, that they know more about our bodies than we do, that no, I'm going to do this to you even though, you know, you're saying that doesn't work for you, but it works for the person doing it. Like everywhere where you're not willing to listen to the body and basically like invade that person's space, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
Will you just acknowledge that you might actually have a capacity to listen and start to tap into that rather than the other stuff? So everything that doesn't allow you to tap into bodies with total ease and be a kindness to them, will you just try and uncreate at all times a godzillion?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Right,
wow.
wrong, good, bad, pot on line, shorts, boys and beyonds. One of the fun things to do, like, you know, just like stepping into population is to actually ask, what kindness can I be to this body?
I love that.
The body is different, and even if it's the same person, it's that body might have something different.
Mm-hmm.
And the kindness that day might be full body touch, and that's thank you, I'm done. Or the kindness might be a blowjob that day. It's like you never know what the kindness is.
Yeah.
So would you be willing to ask and like really connect with you, what you're willing to be, and to the other person? And you know, the fun thing is, the more you actually do that, it's like you're being that energy of kindness to the bodies that the other person it's kind of like a ripple effect. They start to do that too. And they start to listen too. Like you're willing to bring your barriers down, their barriers come down.
Mm-hmm.
You ask, can you go a little to the left? They're like, awesome. Can you just pinch this a little while you do this? Awesome. I'm there. I can do that for you.
And let's also too, you know, part of the time now, and I so get that, and this is a really very common occurrence, apparently, from what I read, is that a lot of people wait until the moment during copulation or during, you know, when we're getting into that space of that intimacy, that physical intimacy, to begin to ask for something or to begin to tell their partner what they like. And what if you could actually have that conversation regardless of the time of day or the location? And I wonder if that would create some space for you and your body and the person you're choosing to play with and their body to have greater ease with then when you come into that intimate space to actually bring your bodies together, then there's a little bit of freedom. And so there seems to be like multiple parts to this of like, if you've decided you're going to be offended when your lover asks you for what they desire, would you firstly be willing to let go of that and to make a different choice and maybe be an allowance of what your lover desires? And then secondly, would you maybe be willing to also ask for what your body desires and be in a space of allowance with the possibility that your lover won't like really maybe get it completely there the first time, you know?
Yeah.
And what if you have
not
more
about perfection?
You know, it's like you may have a different sensory perception in the region that you're looking for something specific than what they're aware of from their vantage point, you know. And bodies are amazing, you know. And what if we could also trust, in addition to asking, we can also be trusting like that we could actually have fun with the process of finding those places and those right spots and those sweet spots.
Being like explorers of newfound land.
What if that could be part of the pleasure? Or if there could be pleasure in that if we were willing to allow that. And, you know, maybe some folks need to not be having sex or copulation while they're watching television, or
maybe,
or,
right?
You know, maybe not trying to get that finished before the next show comes on, or, you know, and I get that can be fun in itself sometimes too. But maybe the times you're doing something really quickly are not the times to be asking those kinds of questions too. So we have 5 minutes, and by the way, here's my shopping list,
That's right.
No pressure, honey.
You were saying the shopping list thing when you were talking about, the couples having the conversation outside the bedroom. I was like, yeah, I perceive it now. People are walking down the aisles of the grocery store. They're going to pick up their can of peaches and go, darling, if you could really just, rub me the way that you lick that peach, or lick me the way that you lick that peach. That'd be so fantastic. Yeah, it could. Yeah, the conversations could be really endless and a lot of fun.
And what if we were willing to bring that energy of sexualness through our conversation and our questions everywhere, throughout every part of the relationship?
Well, that's just insane, because if you bring your sexualness to everything, you might have way too much fun. So whatever you do, don't do that. It'll be too creative and too expansive. That's just insane.
And you might actually have some really amazing orgasms as well.
Yeah, you might.
Oh, that would be so awful. Oh, I can't imagine what you would do with yourself. Oh, my goodness.
As you're doing yourself, what are you doing with yourself?
And go ahead.
Yeah, what if you can have that conversation with you first?
That's exactly where I was going. Yeah.
I know that's where you were going, because I'm reading your brain.
Well, it's so, and even what if you would be willing to touch your own body, and whether you are pleasuring your own body in a way that you might, in a really major way, or whether you are just touching your body to actually become aware of the sensation of touch and become aware of the sensation of that place on your body that touch is and can be. And then you begin to get, or I'll ask you, what if then you begin to get a more clear idea, a more clear sense or clarity around what really is pleasurable for your body, more of what is pleasurable for your body. It's one thing to imagine what you like. It's one thing to have an idea of where you might enjoy certain stimulations or certain sensations. It's another thing entirely to actually allow the body to read that. And you might be thinking a certain area, but it could actually be a little to the left of where you're thinking.
Right.
That we actually find the sweet spot. And so, whether that's the back of your knee or the back of your neck or your big toe or a more personal area, it's really, what if none of that was wrong? And all of it could be a part of creating more fun and more joy and more excitement in your relationship with your own body, as well as the person you're choosing to play with and their body.
And what if you had no point of view about anything they're asking about? Like if they said, you know what I really, really like is to have anal penetration. Mm-hmm. And be like, if you have no point of view about it and you're willing to just explore the body, how much fun could you have gifting them something instead of going, yeah, that's gross. I don't do that. I don't go in those places. Like, what if you can be an amazing gift to that body just by having no point of view about whatever it's asking for?
Yeah. Receiving your lover's request.
Yeah, because bodies have interesting requests, and some of them really like things that a lot of people would just go, like, I'm not doing that. Like, so if you have no point, it doesn't mean that you have to like having a finger in your bum, but if their body likes it, like, what if you just listen to it and be like, hey, my bum's not really into that today, or maybe it will be next time. You never know. Like, and the thing is, your body will change all the time, especially if you do energy work. And I've noticed that, like, whenever I go to classes, like, my body, if I've been to a 2 or 3 or 4 day, like, intensive or 5 or whatever, intensive class of energy work, my pleasure zones change. And I can sense things differently in different areas. So it's different all the time.
Yeah. And that's really way cool in my interesting point of view.
Yeah, it's very fun. So it's like, instead of having to have probably, like in my teens, I was so used to being rough on myself that everything for me required a lot of vigorous roughness. And it's actually like the more I've become gentle with me, the more I've noticed that it's like, yes, I can walk by a flower and it'll turn me on, and that's pretty darn cool. I think I was telling you guys one episode about turning on a horse, and I turned on a horse. I rode the horse, and then he had an erection. Maybe I didn't talk about it on my show.
Maybe. I was listening.
Okay, that one. The same week, I had a cat do the same thing to me, and he like ejaculated on me. But I'm like, wow, this is really. I have an interesting life. Animals are having these physical reactions around me, and it's not like I'm like rubbing them up or something, but it's like you can actually be that energy and turn things on. And for me, those were like two, like, you can't fake that examples. Like, I could walk by a flower and go, oh, it looked like it just smiled at me. Well, those two examples, it was like, well, there was evidence on my shirt from touching the cat and like rubbing its head, like its physical head, like where its ears are. And bam, and then like the horse. I'm like, wow, these things you can't miss, right? So what if you are that? And like sometimes, what if it is like when you're doing a little to the left, what if it's not even a physical thing? Like what if it's like changing the energy of what you're being in that moment, instead of having the intensity of, I must gift you an orgasm, this is incredibly significant. If I don't gift you an orgasm, I suck as a lover and I will become robotic.
It look really specifically like you are yelling and losing control and screaming at the top of your lungs.
And if you don't scream at the top of your lungs and you just have a deep breath and you have ease in your body, that's not an orgasm. I've seen them on pornos.
And if you don't cry, I haven't done my job. I know. It's so,
right.
There is I have to say, I just, I did not acknowledge this for the longest time. And really this could be said to both men and women, each respectively and collectively. But I've gotten a huge awareness, much more so in this last year, around there is not a great deal of resource for our men. If you've chosen to embody as a man, I thank you for persevering through the insanity of what is presented as what is appropriate for you to do and be as a lover and as a man. And please know that there's a very different way that many of us function, that we don't rely upon what has been represented as what you're supposed to do and be. And just, if you would like resources, if you would like to talk to people, follow your intuition, follow your knowing, follow the lightness, keep asking questions, call Milica. She has a page here on A to Zen. You can contact me. I have a page on A to Zen. If you would like to have conversation that is not about what you're supposed to do, be, perform, and the significance of that. And I just, in this last year and a half, I've just become so much more aware that there's really a lot of insanity. There's insanity for both men and women. And the insanity around the women's world aspect of this, or the female aspect of this, is equally as crazy and looks different. And there's a lot of, I just did not get until probably this last few months, that I was always under the impression that, guys had places that they could go and talk about these things, and that they could actually get a different perspective. And apparently I was not having all of the information. I was just not aware. So for all of that insanity that is presented to you as what is real and true, I am saying here and now, it is not so. And there are many people who have a very different point of view and who desire something very different. And
it's very, very, so the resources are few and far between. And I often get emails, and that's one of the, it's like an amazing thing. I love receiving emails and texts. I got one this week from a woman who had been listening for a year to the show, and she was just thanking me because she had a lot of really cute points of view that I could never be her friend, or she was somehow so much more greater than her. I was like, are you kidding me, girl? Like, that's funny shit. But that's really funny to me because in my point of view, I started this show because I actually had such an incredible low self-esteem, and I like to talk about sex. And I was like, well, I don't know if people will even want to listen to me, but I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about right now.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's changed a lot for me, like in terms of like now having, like, choosing to say what I would like.
Yes.
And also, you know, across board in my life, it's actually created so much for me because I'm talking so much.
Yeah.
It's so
that is
cool.
Amazing, Milica.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, sister. I mean, that is amazing. And you know what? I just would like to invite everybody to take this in. The energy Milica's being, it's so amazing to me that the thing we might be terrified of and the thing that we so often would fight to the death to prove we are not is the most beautiful, most powerful, most amazing gift we have, and that we are. And what you just said was such a beautiful illustration of that. And thanks,
darling. Yeah, thank you.
Choosing that. Oh my gosh.
It blows my mind every day. I get an email and it's like, "Wow, you're so beautiful." I'm like, "Wow, my entire life until this last year, I targeted myself as one of the physically ugliest people on the planet." Wow. And it blows my mind when I get emails like, "Wow, maybe 40 people aren't on crack. Wow, that's kind of cool." Can 40 people be wrong about this? Like, that's kind of cool.
Oh, I love that. You know, and so this is really, so gosh, I know we have not talked a whole lot of sexual jargon this evening. Shucks, we'll have to have another conversation.
We will, for sure.
And what if this is really the energy of being able to have conversation with your lover and with your body? Yeah. And from this space, you could be asking the questions, would you be willing to maybe play with me in a totally different way, honey? Because, you know, I kind of have this desire, and I wonder if it would be really fun for us to do, you know, what if it could be as fun and easy and simple? And I say easy, and I don't say that to patronize anyone, but what if there could be ease for you?
Yeah, like it's not stressful. It could be fun.
Yeah. What if it could actually add to the relationship? Yeah. And actually, like, be the invitation for your lover to, like, oh, I'm wanting to try that. Yeah. Let's play. Yeah.
And, like, wow, she just had that idea. Oh, wow, I just have this idea. It actually, like, starts to open up this floodgate of everything that everybody's been hiding. Like, oh, yes, I'd really like to just hold your bum while you copulate with me. I just want to do that for like an hour. Just even if you don't move your body. I just want to hold your bum and you just be inside me, and that's what I want. Like, awesome. Like there's funny things, but my body receives in the craziest ways.
Different ways.
It's not like a book, right? So would you be willing to toss out the book? Even some of the stuff in the book makes sense. We have anatomy. There are these nerves. There's blood flow. Like, there's some anatomical things. You could actually chuck out the book, and go out of the box on what might actually pleasure you. For all you know, you could be, like, lying in bed with an ear cleaner in your ear and be like, that feels incredible, and having your belly rubbed, and you're like, this is the life. Like, you never know, right? I have a thing with ear cleaners. That's why I'm like, I really like sticking things in my ears. So I get that the ear cleaner might actually contribute to me in the future. We'll see where that goes. I will likely report it. The show is like, I know this show is like a 10-second show every week.
And what if, I have one more question. What if your lover is waiting for you to ask?
Right.
What if your lover is waiting for you to ask? I know we have to duck out. I'm so sorry, Milica.
I know, it's been great. And thank you so much, Keisha, for playing with me tonight. What a pleasure. And we're going to do this again.
And let's have more of that. Thanks, everybody. Bye,
love you lots. Bye.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, Have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.